Week 3 of the NFL season is here, and I am here to help you cash in big on your Week 3 NFL player props. Guys, if you are new to the channel, you've come to the right place to learn a ton of different things about how to make money on all of these different player props apps. Going to be breaking it down, giving you guys not one, not two, but 3 KJK VIP plays that I'm actually playing, that I'm actually setting in my VIP members. If you're new, I only share plays that I'm actually backing with my own money. I break down the process of all that goes into those plays, help you learn how to make money on these apps. And then if you're looking to step up your game, you can get my VIP package. You can see for yourself how these results go. They're all actual plays that I'm playing. We'll break it down. Betr, Prizepicks are the 2 apps you're going to need to tail these picks, guys. You need both apps. Get the Betr app now if you don't have it. Use my promo code KJKDFS, or you can just use my link down below in the description. It'll make it easy on you, and that'll auto-apply that link. They're going to match you all the way up to $200. You're going to be able to get some value and some really good props on Betr that you can't get on Prizepicks. As you can see on the screen, I have a side-by-side here. DK Metcalf over 4.5 receptions and Devontae Adams over 5.5 receptions. Both of those props have been bumped up to an even 6 and an even 5 on the Prizepicks platform. Because they're so likely to hit the over, Prizepicks has gone ahead and moved that line up. On the Betr platform, there are no pushes. So that's how they drive new users to their app. Rather than having that even line at the 5, they can't do that. They can move it up to 5.5, or they can take it off their app completely, but they do not have pushes, okay? So that's what makes the Betr app really appealing. You can get value there, and then we can get value, and we can do things on the Prizepicks app that we can't do on Betr. So get Betr, use that promo code KJKDFS in my link down below. They're going to match you up to $200. Take advantage of that offer so you can cash in with these player props. And then the other app that you're going to need is going to be the Prizepicks app. They're also going to hook you up with a really great offer. When you play $5, you're going to get $50 instantly with my link and promo code. Same thing, it's KJKDFS across the board to make it nice and easy on. Sign up for the app. I'll also have links down below for this. I'll have links for everything to make it easy on you. Get that $50, get a little extra cash in your account so that you can tail these picks. I'll have 2 Prizepicks 6-pick flexes we'll get into after the Betr and this Betr ticket that we're about to break down right now. VIP package is going to be where it's at if you want to get access to all my plays as soon as I place them, guys. Already locked in a bunch of college football props this morning and have been absolutely cashing out on these esports plays. If you go to my YouTube community page, you're going to see this is Underdog Fantasy. Same thing, KJKDFS will get you another deposit match on their platform, but that's another platform we'll discuss on this channel where I've been really hitting esports plays throughout the week. So I know everyone's excited about football, but there's a ton of other value to be offered over there. Let's get into this breakdown. Let's talk about these Betr first, and then we'll move over to the Prizepicks portion of the program. But there's going to be a ton of value throughout this video, so listen up. Let's talk about it, man. So yeah, the first play is going to be on Betr. We're going to be running a 6-pick dynamic play because 6-pick dynamic plays are optimal. I kind of already gave you a sneak peek on the intro there as to like why I like these plays, why they're good value. They're more likely to go over. Why is that? Let's get into it. So there's a few tools that I use for my process. We'll break down the DK Metcalf tool using some of them right now for you guys. First tool is going to be Outlier. If you do not have the Outlier app, would highly recommend it. Once again, I'm going to provide you with as many free resources on this channel as I possibly can to help you out with a bunch of free value, and I've partnered up with Outlier to do just that. My link down below will get you 7 days completely free with this tool, so take advantage of that offer. 7-day free trial. This is the exact tool that I'm using, and I'll show you how I'm using it right now. I got DK Metcalf typed in, right? I like to go ahead and sort this column by implied probability. That's telling us the implied odds that we're going to hit this prop, right? So his best possible prop you could take is this under touchdown. That's only available on Underdog, and it's shifted massively. It's not available as a standard prop. The over 4.5 receptions is going to be the highest likelihood of any of his props to hit outside of fantasy score and Underdog is what they're saying. And this is not available on Prizepicks, as we talked about, because it got bumped up to 5 even. Why is this the best possible prop for DK Metcalf? For those of you that don't know how sports betting works, there's sports betting odds across all of these different sports books. And American odds, they set it as minus or plus money. So minus means the prop is favored. So in this example, we have every single one of these sports books saying DK Metcalf is going to go over 4.5 receptions. This is the same data that Prizepicks is using in their app. There's millions of dollars invested to set appropriate lines. Prizepicks is using them. They're really good at this. They hire people to set these lines. That's how they make money, by setting the lines right? So it's minus 142, minus 154 on teasers, minus 140 on BetMGM. If you don't know what this means, on DraftKings, if you go to the DraftKings app right now at minus 130, what that means is you'd have to risk $130 to win $100. Okay, so you have to risk more than you're going to win, because they're saying it's so likely that DK Metcalf is going to get that 5 receptions. We're going to make you risk more than you're going to win. That's how it works. Okay, so why is this data valuable? Because of those millions of dollars, because of the fact that DraftKings and FanDuel are profitable companies. Because if they set these lines wrong, everyone would log into their app and beat them and take all their money, and they'd go bankrupt. Newsflash, they make a lot of money. They're not bankrupt. So that's why this data is very valuable. And that's why we want to use it to find good props on Prizepicks. That's why it got bumped up on Prizepicks. That's why we can get it at really good value on Betr. Another tool that I really do love to use that we'll discuss right now is going to be the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. We can break down the difference in the hit rate between these two props on Prizepicks versus Betr, right? So if you don't have this tool, get this as well. This is this tool I'm using for all of my esports props as well. This is a tool that's going to break down all these props and bring in all that data that we're talking about. KJKDFS in the link down below will get you 25% off this one if you like it. Feel free to sign up for whatever tool you like the most, or just get my VIP package to make it easy on you. My goal is to bring you as many resources as I can and get you those deals. That's why I partner up with these guys. So this tool is extremely valuable because it's going to bring in that data and tell you the exact hit rate. A 53.37% hit rate on the under 5 receptions is actually the best prop on the Prizepicks board. Being that they have push lines on Prizepicks, DGF, the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer, is factoring in, your odds to push or him stay under. And being that it's up to 5 even, they're actually saying the best play would be to take us under, because essentially he's going to end with 5 receptions and you're going to push. So they're just factoring in the variance in the fact that he's probably going to at least push for you in that prop, that he's at a 5 even. But if we switch it on over to Betr picks and the line we're getting on Betr, you can see he's actually got a 53.89% chance to hit the over 4.5. So it's an even better prop. And as we discussed, you can't get it on Prizepicks. The odds to hit are much higher, 53.89% compared to 53.37%. And we're getting the same line on all these sports books that are heavily favored. Minus 130 on the over 4.5, minus 140 on the over 4.5 on BetMGM, minus 142, minus 131. So you get the point. He's all the way up to minus 155 on ESPN Bet. If you were to log into the ESPN app right now, the ESPN Bet app, they're going to make you risk $155 to win $100. On Prizepicks, keep in mind, guys, we are getting minus 119 in a 5 or 6 pick flex, which the third and last tool that I really like to use to analyze these props is going to be OddsJam. And I really like their sportsbook screen because you can quite literally bring in every single sportsbook under the sun and look at every single odds. I mean, I have over 200 sports books selected, so we can break down this DK Metcalf prop right now. You're getting minus 119 implied odds on Prizepicks. On Betr, you're getting minus 121 in a 5 or 6 pick dynamic, okay? So we're running a 6 pick dynamic, so we're getting minus 121 odds compared to all of these different sports books where you have to risk way more than the Betr app. Minus 140 on BetMGM. On the Sleeper app, if you have Sleeper, guys, another DFS app, I partnered with them as well. You'd have to go, they have it all the way up to minus 164, just heavily favored on the over. So you get what I'm saying? We'll kind of breeze through these other props on this Betr ticket, but he's all the way up to minus 150 on Fliff. Now that you're kind of getting an idea of these tools and all the data that's going into this process of this pick, we can kind of breeze through it. But I mean, so many different data points heavily favoring us over. Minus 140 on the over on BWin, minus 140 on the over on Party Poker. If you were head on over to the score, minus 155, ESPN Bet minus 155, which we discussed, right? So it is crazy how heavily favored he is compared to the odds we're getting on Betr at only minus 121. That's why he got bumped up on Prizepicks where it's minus 119. They're saying it's too good of a prop. We don't want you to be locking that in. OddsJam, guys, same thing. Promo code KJKDFest, 35% off. Link down below in the description. Take advantage of this tool if you do find it. If I'm pulling it up and you're like, that's really great, I want to be using that. Take advantage of that discount, right? All right, so let's continue along here. Davante Adams, same thing, bumped up, right, guys? So I want to be taking advantage of that value over on Betr. Not going to be able to get it. It's going to be the same concept of all of these different lines, all of these different sports books favoring the over. So Prizepicks has gone ahead and bumped them up, right? Full payout breakdown. The other thing that's cool about Betr is you're going to get a nice payout if you only get 4 out of 6 correct. They're going to give you 1.05x of your money. You only got to get 4 or better right in these 6-pick dynamics to profit money on Betr. I know it's a small amount, 1.05x if you get 4 correct, 5 if you get 5 correct, it's 1.25x, and then 6 correct, you get 20x. But that does make it different than Prizepicks, a little unique in the sense that you only got to get 4 right to profit on Prizepicks. You're going to have to get 5 out of 6 to double your money. If you only get 4 to 6, you're only getting 0.4x back. So that's another nice little bonus there for you. All right, another 2 guys you're going to see on my screen behind me on the Prizepicks app, 3, we can just bang them out here, is going to be Jalen Hurts, Bijan Robinson, and Fairburn, the kicker for the Houston Texans. And you're once again going to notice as we go along this ticket, guys, guess what? I got every single one of them at a much better line here. We got the Jalen Hurts over 9.5 rushing attempts. It's bumped up to 10 even on Prizepicks. They're saying it's too good of a prop. Bijan Robinson over 15.5 rushing attempts. It's bumped up to 16 even on Prizepicks. Why? Because of all that Vegas data. And then you got the Kai Fairburn over 7.5 kicking points. So let's just go ahead and bang these out. Let's pull them all up and analyze them in these tools. So you can see on the back end all of the different data that's going into it, right? So Davante Adams, going to be the next one. The one that you can get on Prizepicks now, it does appear, he was bumped at the time of placing this, is Mike Evans' receptions. I wasn't able to get that at the time of placing this ticket. It was actually bumped up as well. So let's go ahead and break down Davante Adams as our next prop here. Pull them into all these tools. You're going to see all of this different Vegas data that we were just discussing factored in. So outlier, tool number 1. What are we seeing here when it comes to outlier? And this data, you can see implied probability. I have it sorted. His best possible prop you could take is his under touchdowns again, but his second best is going to be the over 5.5 receptions. Some really, really good value. All these sports books, minus 130 DraftKings, minus 135 on BetMGM, minus 140 on BetMGM, minus 145 on Caesars. Now, obviously, if we're taking his over receptions, we do want him to get the majority of the target share. That is another great thing about this outlier tool. You can see the target share. He's getting 26.5% of the offense's targets, 18 targets on the season, so he leads his team. That's one thing I didn't bring up for DK Metcalf, but same thing. He's going to have a very large majority of the target share. That's all factored into these odds, right? Vegas knows all this, guys, but DK Metcalf leads the Seahawks, receiving 26.5% of the target share for his squad as well, right? So Davante Adams going to be a fantastic prop here as well. And the more data, the better. We can just keep pulling it in, right? Not only on Outlier, also on the Daily Grind Fantasy Optimizer. We can do that little comparison that I was talking about where if we pull in the Prizepicks board, right, they're actually saying to take the under 6 because it got bumped up again. It's the same thing, and it's got a 53.04% chance to hit. Let's head on over to the Betr app where it is listed at 5.5. He's got a 53.74% chance to hit on this over. It's a much better prop. It has been bumped up. There's more edge than if you were to take the under. That pushes. They're just saying it's the best prop you could take on Prizepicks essentially because he's favored on the over 5.5, but he's favored on the under 6.5. These lines are very precise, so they're essentially saying Davante Adams is going to end with 6 receptions, right? So Daily Grind's doing all the work on the back end for you, telling you the best possible props you can take on each app. Take advantage of this value you're getting on Betr. Just talked about it. You're getting a 53.74% chance to hit compared to only 53.04, and it's a push number. So you're not even making money, unless he stays at 5 or less anyways. So hopefully that makes sense to you. For Davante Adams, Caesars aggressively favoring his over at minus 145, so that we like to see that. The more apps that are aggressively favoring them, the better. And then if we go to him over on OddsJam, you're just going to see even more data points, right? Which is beautiful. Favoring is over, minus 128 on FanDuel, 145 on Caesars. Sleeper, another fantasy app, once again, all the way up to 154. So this is all the data. I just want to show you in real time all of the different data that's going into these plays, right? Minus 144 on the over on Play Alberta, minus 140 on the over on Party Poker. Just a ton of different apps, a ton of different sports books that are favoring us over. So, you know, that's why we want to be taking it. Use that millions of dollars of data to our advantage. Jalen Hurts, rushing attempts. Let's analyze this bad boy for you. And you're going to see very quickly, he's going to be favored across the board. No surprise to us, right? Jalen Hurts. Sort by implied probability. What are his best props on this NFL slate this weekend? We're going to see the over 9.5 rushing attempts, 57% implied probability. Really good prop. Minus 135 DraftKings. Underdog Fantasy has altered it so that it's all the way up to minus 159. So that's just fantastic. His rush share, he's accounting for 34.7% of the team's rushes, trailing only Saquon Barkley. We've seen him rush a lot more. Over the last 5, you can see this year, he really did not show off his legs last year. He's shown a clear effort to change that. He already rushed 13 and 13 times, respectively, the last 2 weeks. So we love to see that, right? We definitely love to see that. Let's go ahead and type him into Daily Grind. See what they got here. And he got bumped up on Prizepicks, so you're going to see all these different props. He's actually the under 10. There's like no edge in this. It's like a 50.12% chance to hit is what they're saying on the Prizepicks board because of that push number at the 10. Go on over to Betr where it's at 9.5. You're going to see a much different result, all the way up to a 53.28% chance for you to hit this prop. Tons of different data points saying he's going to go over this. Minus 137 on Caesars, minus 133 on BetOnline, minus 130 on ESPN Bet. Right? Fantastic. And let's do those rushing attempts over here on OddsJam. Get some more data points, right? That's what we want, as many as we can get. We're going to see even more favoring is over here. The best possible place you could take this is on Betr at the over 9.5, as a matter of fact. Because, I mean, you'd have to risk just way more on all these books. He's all the way up to 10.5 on Bet365, minus 140 on the over on Bet99. He's at 10.5 in a lot of places. PointsBet, multiple books have him at 10.5 there. So really, you're getting some great edge at the 9.5 line that we're getting on this prop, which makes us nice and happy. Okay. Bijan Robinson, Kai Fairbairn, same thing. So I'll kind of wrap things up with the Better Picks portion of the program here. Just review the ticket. You get the point with all these different data sets, and then we'll get into a little bit of a different concept for the Prizepicks portion, because we're going to be talking some fantasy scores and some correlation here shortly. So step number 1, get this Better Picks ticket locked in, right? This is going to be our first play on the video, and a quick little review of all the plays we just went over. The only one you can get on Prizepicks is the Mike Evans 4.5 receptions, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that one get bumped either. So as far as this is concerned, little review. DK Metcalf over 4.5 receptions. Devontae Adams over 5.5 receptions. Over 4.5 for DK, over 5.5 for Devontae Adams. Both bumped on Prizepicks, right? The over 4.5 on Mike Evans receptions. And you can get that on Prizepicks. So let's go ahead and add that here on the screen just so people can see. You can get this on Prizepicks as we talk. I'm not sure if that's still going to be available, though. You can see 5 out of 6 of these props aren't available on Prizepicks, so that's why you're going to need this Better Picks app to lock them in. Jalen Hurts over 9.5 rushing attempts. Bijan Robinson over 15.5 rushing attempts. And the Kai Fairbairn over 7.5 kicking points. Once again, they're all factoring in this data. You know, is Bijan going to run the ball? Fairbairn, Houston implied total, they're going to be factoring in how many points is Houston expected to put up. Houston Texans expected to put up, over 23 points. So obviously Vegas is factoring that all in there, guys. and giving us the implied probability that Fairburn is most likely going to go over. Makes sense. They're expected to put up, 24 points. Probably going to make a couple field goals, a couple extra points. That it's all added in there, factored in. So that will be our first play on the video here. And then we're going to get into some Prizepicks action here. So let's go ahead and do it. That's the full 6 picks. You got the DK, you got the Devontae Adams, the Mike Evans, the Jalen Hurts, the Bijan Robinson, and the Kai Fairburn for the better picks portion. Let's go ahead and talk some Prizepicks now. Switching on over to Prizepicks, guys, we're going to be talking about some very valuable concepts here, breaking this thing down. This ticket is going to be heavily correlated. What does that mean? It means that we're going to be getting an edge by taking some players on the same teams to do well, going over their lines. So if one player does well, the other player is going to well. If a QB throws the ball to a wide receiver, the wide receiver is going to get receiving yards, the QB is going to get passing yards. That's the first thing I'll say about these 2 tickets I'm going to review. And there's going to be a lot more data that goes into it. So let's talk about it. This game that I have a lot of interest in is going to be the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Detroit Lions. This game has the highest total on the entire slate this weekend, a 51.5 implied over-under. Cardinals expected to go out there and put up 24.25 points. Detroit Lions 27.25. Obviously, you can't score a quarter of a point, guys, but that's just how precise Vegas makes these lines, literally down to the quarter of a point. So a 51.5 implied total for those 2 teams. Like I said, it's the highest total on the slate. We can go ahead and look at all these totals, right? We got 40.5, 39, 49.5, 38, 30, 43.5, 34.5, 46, 38.5, 40, 41.5, 43.5, 47.5. This is the only game that's topping 50 points on the entire week. So that's the first thing that we'll say is great about this game, right? That's step number 1. Step number 2 of this ticket that I really like. Look at these 2 teams. They are going to have some serious pass funnel defenses. What do I mean by pass funnel defenses? Well, their run defenses have been fantastic. Their pass defenses have been terrible. Meaning, obviously, if you can't run the ball on them and you're not having success running the ball on the ground, you're going to have to throw the football. Both these defenses fall into that category. We have the Detroit Lions, who have the 3rd best run defense in the entire NFL so far in the season, with a 75.7 grade as far as their rush defense. And we have the Arizona Cardinals, who come in as the 7th best rush defense, coming in with a 69.1 rush defense grade, right? 3rd best run defense, 7th best run defense. Step number 1. Step number 2, we look at their coverage grades. Terrible. The Cardinals have the 2nd worst coverage grade in their secondary with a 47.2 coverage grade rating. And the Detroit Lions have the 14th worst, not quite as bad as the Cardinals, but once again, with them being just a really good run defense, 3rd best in the entire NFL, it's going to naturally lead towards the Cardinals relying on their pass game. If you can't beat them on the ground, you're going to have to beat them through the air. So that's what we've been seeing. Lions much worse in the coverage grade rating, okay? So like we said, 14th worst. We got the 2nd worst here coverage grade. 2 really good run defenses, 2 terrible secondaries. What's the game plan going to be? How are we going to beat the opposing defense for both sides? Throw the football, okay? So that's step number 1. You see what we got on the screen here. We're taking the Kyler Murray and Jared Goff combo prop of the over passing yards. That's going to be able to allow us to get that upside without a payout shift. Prizepicks, another nice little fun lesson here for you guys, right? If we were to go to the standard passing yards prop for these guys, and if we want to take the over receiving yards props as well, let's just go ahead and type them in here. What am I doing? Jared Goff. We'll take the over 261. Let's go with Kyler. Let's just put these 2 together in a slip right now. Boom. Payout shift. Your payouts are different than the standard payouts as a result of the combination of players. So what this means is Prizepicks is going ahead and saying that, with taking the 2 overs in the same game, you're getting a little bit too much edge. So rather than paying you the full that we would typically pay you, we're going to reduce that. Then you're going to see if we go ahead and add some receivers for these guys. Let's just go ahead and add Marvin Harrison. Let's just go ahead and add Amon-Ra St. Brown over receiving yards. Power play. shifted again. A 4-pick power play on Prizepicks is supposed to pay out 10x. You can see it's only paying out 8x. You don't want to take payout shifts, okay? You're not getting the full payment that you should be getting when you do that. Let's go ahead and add in Laporta for fun, right? The receiving yards. In a 5-pick flex play, you're supposed to get paid out 10x in a 5-pick flex play, and you're supposed to 2x your money if you get 4 out of 5 correct. You can see we're only getting 6x if we get 5 correct now, and we're only getting 1.5x if we get 4. Okay, so I just want to explain, I've had to do some work here to find a combination of props where we're not shifting our payout. You can see this is a standard payout. If I get 5 out of 6 correct, I'm going to 2x my money. If I get 6 out of 6 correct, I'm going to 25x my money. If I get 4 out of 6 correct, I'm going to 0.4x my money. That's the standard payout. That's how it should be. You should only be placing entries where you're not getting your payout shifted down. You're getting your full payout as you're supposed to. So that's going to be, lesson number 1 here of this ticket construction. Now, I was only able to add in 1 receiving yards prop in the ticket construction without a payout shift. Now, luckily for me, I love every single one of these fantasy scores in this game. I have all these guys profiling extremely well. So this is the first ticket. Our second ticket is going to be a different variation of the same thing, but let's do the full breakdown of this game, and then we can just show you the actual props. But like I said, the reason I'm taking the fantasy score as opposed to the receiving yards is that brutal payout shift. And I do have all these guys projected over. So we talked about that pass funnel defense. Look at the tight end matchup as well. Sam Laporta has had a brutal start to the season. I think this is a big breakout week for Mr. Sam Laporta. He gets to take on Kaiser White, who has a 28.4 defensive grade covering opposing tight ends. That's worse than the entire NFL. That's dreadful, man. The second lowest guy, the next worst guy in the entire league, has a 41 defensive grade. So Sam Laporta is in a fantastic spot. Trey McBride's got a 9% advantage here. 69.6 defensive grade for Brian Branch. That's much better as far as he's going to be squared up here against in this matchup. However, still have him going over, and I do think the Cardinals are going to be playing from behind, and the condensed target share is what I'm really liking here as well. So let's go ahead and use Outlier to show you guys just how condensed these two offenses are in target share. That's the other thing we really like. If we're taking, 5 receivers in the same game, we want to be making sure they're getting the targets. So we can break down Marvin Harrison first. Once again, this is Outlier, guys. If you like this tool, check them out. 7 days, completely free. You can get access to all this data that I'm pulling up throughout this video for 7 days, completely free. And then if you want to commit, you can. The receiving yards, he put up 130 last week. Detroit, as far as the receiving yards defense, they're 27th in the entire NFL, giving up opposing receiving yards. We already talked about it, right? Their secondary's been terrible. That's all reflected in the numbers. They're giving up 251 a game versus wide receivers. They're 32nd. That's dead last in the entire NFL. Literally the worst defense in the entire NFL, giving up receiving yards to opposing wide receivers, 223 a game. So that's all factored into these projections and stuff I'm talking about. And then the target share for this team is very predictable, which we really like. Trey McBride, 15 targets. Marvin Harrison, 11 targets. 28.8% of the targets are going McBride's way. 21.2% of the targets are going Marvin Harrison's way. Obviously, if we're taking the over and we're stacking up this game, we want the target share to be very predictable. We want all those passes to be going their way. And that's exactly what we're getting. So that's step number 1. And then let's go ahead and look at the other side of this game. We'll type in Amon-Ra, and let's look at the Detroit Lions target share. You're also going to see it's been very predictable, and I will mention Amon-Ra, first of all, has exceeded 78.5 receiving yards in 7 of his last 9 games. He's another prop we're going to talk about here shortly, being that he's the highest implied. But Cardinals, once again, really bad. They're 19th in the entire NFL giving up receiving. And then if we look at the wide receiver position specifically, they go all the way down to 23rd, 164.5 yards per game to opposing wide receivers, 23rd. So we already talked about these two secondaries. That's all reflected in this outlier data as well. And once again, predictable target share. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's Jameson Williams. It's Sam Laporta. Jahmyr Gibbs is getting some receptions out of the backfield as a back. That doesn't bother us, right? We'll take the extra receiving yards that we can get with that combo prop if Jahmyr Gibbs wants to pop one off. But I have all of these guys just projecting insanely well this week on multiple models. So all these things factored in. If you don't know the Prizepicks fantasy scoring format, we'll go ahead and break that down for you, right? Because it's a little bit of a different prop than what you typically see on like a sports book, the receiving, the rushing yards, etc. The fantasy score, how this is going to break down, guys, is as follows on the screen. You can see we have the receivers. So as far as the scoring format, it's a PPR format, meaning points per reception. So every reception they get is going to be 1 point. Receiving touchdowns is going to be 6. As far as those receiving yards, they're going to add up 0.1 point for every yard. So that's how it's going to break down. And then we get points for rushing yards as well if they want to hand it off to any of these guys, Amon-Ra or Marvin Harrison. We'll get some points for those as well. And I have models, projections that factor in all of these different things. And they have all of these guys going over. So I'll pull up that second variation of this ticket that we're going to be locking in shortly. But we will be having exposure to the over on Marvin Harrison, Amon-Ra, Trey McBride, Jameson Williams, and Sam Laporta. All 5 of these guys I do have going over. And why? Because I got models factoring in everything, right? Amon-Ra, 7 red zone targets in the last 3 games, targeted at least 6 times in each of the last 3 games. Arizona, 24th in receiving touchdowns, 19% more pass attempts when home, targeted at least 5 times. I mean, everything, right? So I've got him getting 20 plus 22 fantasy points. Prizepicks only has him set at 16.5. Let's go ahead and analyze Marvin Harrison. 14.05 fantasy points is where I've got him at. They've only got him at 13. I've also got models that are actually projecting him for even more. Same thing. I have multiple models I'm looking at. Amon-Ra, I have him getting 19 in a model. I know this model is really high on Marvin Harrison. They've got him all the way up to getting 16 fantasy points in this same PPR format. So another, they're factoring in the total of the game, the pace of the game, everything, the target share. That's what all these projections are doing. So I've got models getting him all the way up to 14. I've got models getting him all the way up to 16, actually. Amon-Ra, same thing, right? We talked about multiple models having him going over. 19.5 is what this projection model has him at. He's only at 16. Let's go ahead and look at Trey McBride. I'm just being real. I'm just giving you guys actual numbers and I'm giving you actual data sets of all the different things. We talked about this matchup. Detroit ranked 23rd in allowing receiving yards to tight ends. He's averaging 18 fantasy points in 5 home games, 18 fantasy points in close games, averaging 48.8% more in domes, which is just, Arizona plays in a dome, so I'm sure this model's factoring in that. But McBride, this one has him going over with the 13. I've got another model that actually has him going way over with 15. So the more data, the better. So Trey McBride projected over. Jameson Williams, we'll kind of speed things up for him. It's going to be the same thing here. Got him going over. Shocker. Got models getting him 14. Got models getting him all the way up to 16, actually. Same thing. Arizona's terrible versus wide receivers. His snap count increase has gone up significantly, all the way from 52 snaps a game up to 78. So that's great. And then Sam Laporta, this guy, I'm probably going to might put him on the thumbnail. I'm just really excited. I think this is a Sam Laporta week. We talked about this matchup. Look at this, guys. Dude, this defensive grade for Kaiser White is pretty embarrassing. There's not a other single defender in the entire NFL that's going to take the field on Sunday defending a tight end that has below a 40 defensive grade. He's all the way down to a 28.4. That's embarrassing stuff. So Sam Laporta, I think this is his breakout week. Hasn't had the greatest weeks at all to start the season off. So I know I'm probably going to get some comments on, Sam Laporta's been sucking. They've had 2 different opponents, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the LA Rams, none of which has been this opponent. None of which has been Kaiser White with a 28.4 defensive grade. Okay, people? So Sam Laporta breakout week's coming here this week. I think for sure. Got him for 13 in this model. Got him all the way up to 12 here. So it's only a couple fantasy points, but that's a big deal. Prizepicks has him underpriced, you know, at the 10.5. If he was up to like 12.5, he'd be priced a little bit more appropriately. So yeah, absolutely love this game. Love this game stack. We're not getting a payout shift. And guys, I'm actually running 2 different variations. So I talked about how I can't run multiple receiving yards props without the play getting bumped. So I'm running the fantasy score. Really liked the over on Marvin Harris's receiving yards. We pulled up his stats and saw how he popped off big time last week. And would not be surprised in the least to see him do it again here against a Detroit defense that is 27th in the league in receiving yards, 32nd, dead last in the entire league against opposing wide receivers. Yes, please. And then last but certainly not least, look at these matchup advantages. Amon-Ra against the entire secondary, 87.4 matchup advantage. Marvin Harrison with a 78.3 matchup advantage. J-Mo Williams, 67.6 matchup advantage. The worst matchups are going to be Michael Wilson and Khalif Raymond, none of which we have in our ticket. So, man, this game should be fun. 51.5. Let's go ahead and take that upside. We're getting a ton of correlation here. So yeah, this will be the first ticket where we can only put in 1 receiving yards prop. So I'm going to rock with the Marvin Harrison receiving yards and then rock with those fantasy scores for this one. And they let me do a second one, actually. So I'm rocking a whole different variation of these plays as well. With this one, with the Amon-Ra St. Brown. Okay? So if we could just take the receiving yards for every single one of these guys, that would be the best way to correlate this. Because obviously passing yards and receiving yards, like there's literally no better correlation. But we can't do that without a payout shift, but I was able to get creative, lock this in. We just reviewed all that different data. I still have them going over the fantasy score. Obviously, fantasy score is a little different, but if they're racking up the fantasy score, they're going to be racking up the receiving yards. We talked about how this is broken down as far as, you know, the scoring format. You get the 0.1 for every one of those receiving yards, so we're still getting that correlation the best we can with no payout shift. So this is the second one. Being that we can only take 1 receiving yards prop, I want to rock with the 2 stud receivers in Amon-Ra and Marvin Harrison. We talked about the matchup. Both these defenses giving up a ton of receiving yards, and that's going to actually give us the best correlation because they have the highest receiving yards prop on the board. Their downfield threats. That'll obviously, 1, cash the Amon-Ra St. Brown receiving yards, and 2, keep up adding those passing yards for the combo prop and the Kyler Murray and the Jared Goff combo. So this is the first ticket I locked in. Number 1, take that bad boy. And then number 2 is this one. And the only difference is on the 1, we're taking the Marvin Harrison over receiving yards with the following players over fantasy scores, right? And on number 2, we're taking the Amon-Ra receiving yards rather than Marvin Harrison. Because we can only put 1 receiving yards prop. If we were to take any other receiving yards prop, it's going to shift our payout. So really good ticket. Tickets, I should say, 2 tickets. I'm going all in. You see the plays on the screen, guys. I'm backing it with my own money. I'm sending it into my VIP members, so I really want this to go well. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. If you did, would be greatly appreciated if you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. I just gave you 2 6-pick flexes on Prizepicks VIP plays I'm playing myself, completely free. I gave you the Betr Picks ticket as well, completely free. We can review that before we head out the door real quick for you guys. Keep in mind, this Prizepicks offer, right? If you play $5, you're going to get $50 instantly with my link and promo code. So take advantage of that, get a little extra cash in your account. And then the other promo code and link you're going to want to be using is the Betr Picks one. That'll get you access to that $200 deposit match that we discussed. And I'll just review it real quick at the end of the video. I just try to review the picks so everyone can kind of be on the same page here. DK Metcalf over 4.5 receptions. Devontae Adams over 5.5 receptions. Mike Evans over 4.5 receptions. Jalen Hurts over 9.5 rushing attempts. Bijan Robinson over 15.5 rushing attempts. Kai Fairbairn over 7.5 kicking points. So that's our Better Picks ticket. We just went over our 2 Prizepicks tickets, but sure, we'll review them again. We got the passing yards combo, Marvin and Kyler Murray and Jared Goff over. Marvin Harrison Jr. over 63.5 receiving yards. Then we got the McBride over fantasy score, Amon-Ra over fantasy score, Jameson Williams over fantasy score, and Sam Laporta over fantasy score. Rocking with that passing yards combo prop again for the second one with the Kyler Murray and Jared Goff. Instead, this time we're going with the Amon-Ra St. Brown over 78.5 receiving yards. That's going to be our 1 receiving yards prop. Then we got the Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, Marvin Harrison, and Trey McBride fantasy scores to round things out, guys. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the VIP package. I'm going to have a bunch more plays over there if you haven't already. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Wishing you all the best of luck on your Prizepicks NFL player props, your Better Picks NFL player props this weekend, and we will see you in the next one.